She was radiant, full of life, a dreamer who believed the world was wide open. And then, one night in New Orleans, she vanished. No goodbye, no trace, just silence. This is the story of Ylenia Carrisi, a beloved daughter, a gifted writer, and a young woman searching for her place in the world. A disappearance that left a family broken. A mystery that has never been solved. More than 30 years later, her fate remains one of the most haunting enigmas in true crime history. Ylenia Maria Sole Carrisi was born on November 29, 1970, in Rome, Italy. She was the eldest daughter of two of Italy's most famous entertainers, Albano Carrisi and Romina Power. From the start, Ylenia lived in the glow of fame. Her parents were an iconic singing duo, adored across Europe. Yet despite the glamour, they raised their children with an emphasis on creativity, education, and independence. Ylenia grew up between Italy and the United States, spending much of her youth in the family's estate in Cellino San Marco in southern Italy. She was described as curious, adventurous, and independent-minded. Her siblings recalled her as the big sister who always carried books and notebooks everywhere. Romina once said in an interview, she had a restless spirit. Ylenia wanted to see the world, to experience it for herself. She wasn't afraid of life. By the early 1990s, Ylenia was a brilliant student. She studied literature at King's College in London and was fluent in multiple languages. She also worked briefly as a television presenter in Italy, but writing was her true passion. In 1993, Ylenia set out on a journey across the United States. She told friends she wanted to gather material for a book about street performers and unconventional lifestyles. Carrying a backpack and her notebooks, she moved from city to city. She played accordion in town squares. She interviewed strangers. She slept in hostels and sometimes on couches of people she had just met. This worried her parents. Albano, her father, later admitted she was 23, but she wanted to live as if she were already free of everything. I told her to be careful. The world is not always kind. Still, Ylenia's adventurous spirit couldn't be contained. By late December of 1993, she had made her way to New Orleans, Louisiana, a city that fascinated her. She was drawn to the French Quarter with its music, its characters, and its mystery. In New Orleans, Ylenia began staying at the Lee Dale Hotel, a modest place not far from the French Quarter. It was here she met Alexander Masakela, a 54-year-old street musician from Belize. Known for his eccentric personality, he made his living playing in the streets, often surrounded by young admirers. Witnesses recalled seeing Ylenia with him frequently. He introduced her as his student, though their relationship quickly raised concerns. Hotel staff described Masakela as odd and sometimes intimidating. When Ylenia's father later investigated, he claimed Masakela had a history of targeting young women who were vulnerable or impressionable. Romina Power later said, she was fascinated by people on the margins. That was her heart, but she didn't always see the danger. On January 6, 1994, Ylenia was last seen alive. According to reports, she left the hotel that evening. Some witnesses claimed she headed toward the Mississippi River. A security guard named Albert Cordova later told police he saw a young woman matching her description sitting on the riverbank around 11 p.m. He said she told him, "I belong to the water." Moments later, she allegedly jumped into the river. Cordova said he rushed forward, but the current was too strong. The woman disappeared into the darkness. No body was ever recovered. The account shocked her family. Albano flew immediately to New Orleans, desperate for answers, but almost instantly, doubts arose. First, there was no physical proof that the woman Cordova saw was Ylenia. He never confirmed her identity with certainty. Second, Masakela's story shifted. At one point, he told reporters Ylenia had left him to return to Italy. At another, he admitted they had argued and she had stormed out. The hotel staff also raised suspicions. One worker recalled hearing shouting from Ylenia's room days earlier. Another claimed Masakela was controlling her. Despite this, New Orleans police leaned heavily on Cordova's testimony. They concluded Ylenia had drowned. Albano, devastated, accepted this theory. But Romina Power never did. In interviews, Romina said, "My daughter was a fighter. She would not simply give up her life like that. I believe she is still alive." This disagreement tore the family apart. Even today, Albano insists she died that night. Romina insists she survived. The official investigation in New Orleans was limited. Police searched the river, but no remains were found. No foul play charges were ever brought against Masakela. He was questioned, then released. Journalists uncovered troubling details. Masakela had a history of fraud and manipulation. He had been arrested multiple times. He also reportedly surrounded himself with young women, often financially dependent on him. Yet, with no body and no evidence, the case stalled. Back in Italy, the disappearance dominated headlines. The Italian public followed every development, torn between grief and hope. In the years that followed, rumors and alleged sightings surfaced. In 1994, just months later, a woman resembling Ylenia was reportedly seen in a convent in the U.S. In 2000, an anonymous tip claimed she was living in Arizona under a new identity. In 2011, another lead placed her in Central America. None were confirmed. The most shocking revelation came in 2014, when Albano Carrisi officially declared Ylenia legally dead in Italy, citing the Mississippi River testimony. He explained it was a painful but necessary step for closure. Romina Power, however, refused to accept it. She continued to post tributes, calling Ylenia's disappearance an open wound. In one interview, she said, "Hope is the only thing a mother has left. Until I see her body, I will never believe she is gone." Unlike other true crime stories, Ylenia's case never went to trial. There was no suspect formally charged, no jury to hear arguments, no verdict to deliver. Instead, the court of public opinion debated endlessly. Did Ylenia drown? Was she manipulated by Masakela and harmed? Or did she choose to disappear, starting a new life somewhere else? The absence of answers only deepened the mystery. For Italy, Ylenia became a symbol of youthful independence and the dangers it can bring. Her disappearance was a national tragedy, reminding families that fame and privilege cannot protect from heartbreak. Her story also shed light on how disappearances are handled abroad. Critics argued the New Orleans police were too quick to assume suicide, too unwilling to dig deeper into Masakela's past. In Italy, advocacy groups for missing persons often reference Ylenia's case, urging parents to report disappearances immediately and to push investigators not to dismiss alternative explanations. Her siblings have spoken occasionally about their loss. One said, "Every time I hear a laugh that sounds like hers, I turn my head." For a moment, I think it's her 30 years later. The fate of Ylenia Carrisi is still unknown. To some, she is forever 23, swallowed by the Mississippi. To others, she is still out there living quietly under a new name, far from the chaos of her past. What is certain is that her disappearance left scars that never healed. A mother who refuses to let go. A father who chose acceptance. A family forever divided. And a young woman remembered for her spirit, her laughter, and the dreams she carried. The story of Ylenia Carrisi is not just about what happened in New Orleans. It's about the fragility of hope, the pain of not knowing, and the haunting possibility that some mysteries are never meant to be solved. As Romina once said, she is the wind. She is everywhere. And maybe one day she will come back. If you found Ylenia's story as haunting as we did, share your thoughts below. Do you believe she drowned in the Mississippi? Or do you believe she chose to disappear? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another deep dive into the mysteries that still haunt us. Because every story deserves to be uncovered.